Hi everybody, Father Bill Holtzinger here, and this is your Friday Reflection. Well, today's reflection is a little different than previous ones. This is more of a warning than anything else, and it has to do with misrepresentation of Pope Leo XIV. And it's happening all over the place on the internet, specifically on Facebook and elsewhere. Even videos are being done. So I want to just touch on a few of them and then offer some thoughts. This is on Facebook. It starts, I like him already. Brothers and sisters, now quoting supposedly, brothers and sisters, I speak to you, especially to those who no longer believe, no longer hope, no longer pray, because they think God has left. Right off the bat, by the way, I'm like, this came out very quickly after he was elected, and I've listened to almost everything he had said up to that point. I'm like, this doesn't sound right. I don't remember him saying this. But here, let's keep going. To those who are fed up with scandals, with misused power, with the silence of a church that sometimes seems more like a palace than a home. I too was angry with God. I too saw good people die, children suffer, grandparents cry without medicine. And yes, there were days when I prayed and only felt an echo. But then I discovered something. God doesn't shout. God whispers. And sometimes he whispers from the mud, from pain, from a grandmother who feeds you without having anything. I don't come to offer you perfect faith. I come to tell you that faith has a walk with stones, puddles, and unexpected hugs. I'm not asking you to believe in everything. I'm asking you not to close the door. Give a chance to the God who waits for you without judgment. I'm just a priest who saw God in the smile of a woman who lost her son, and yet she cooked for others. That changed me. So if you're broken, if you don't believe, if you're tired of the lies, come anyway. With your anger, your doubt, your dirty backpack. No one here will ask you for a VIP card. Because this church, as long as I breathe, will be a home for the homeless and a rest for the weary. God doesn't need soldiers, he needs brothers. And you, yes, you are one of them. Robert Prevost, Leo XIV. Now, we're not going to get into the details in this, but this is not something he said. There's some nuance of things that doesn't even sound like him, and that's always a tell. The other one is it's not given a source, and this is now more important than ever. Another example is a video that was released. It's about 36 minutes long. I haven't watched it, but it was reported actually by EWTN News itself. And they said this, a 36-minute video purporting to show Pope Leo XIV reading a statement denouncing colonialism and praising Captain Ibrahim Traore, and I apologize, I can't pronounce the name. The 37-year-old leader of Burkina Faso has garnered nearly 1 million views on YouTube as of Monday, and that would be just a couple days ago. Basically, he's claiming, this claim is that the report offers, it claims that Pope Leo XIV is shown as seated in the Paul VI audience hall, reading from a paper, and in an apparent, as a apparent response to a purported speech from Ibrahim, Pope Leo XIV appears to address the Catholic Church's historical entanglement with colonialism and acknowledge its past failures and stand with the oppressed and speak out against economic exploitation and political interference in Africa. It goes on. The Pope addresses ongoing injustices, including the plunder of Africa's resources, the theft of cultural memory, denial of sovereignty, etc. The video is entirely fake and admits as much in its own description on YouTube, but that hasn't stopped thousands of viewers from being misled. Quote, this made me cry. What I've been waiting for a pope to say all my life gives me hope for the world, reads one user's comment, amid hundreds of more expressing similar sentiment. Again, this is an AI-generated video, and we need to be mindful of this kind of stuff. So here's something to be aware. Always look for the source. This is something when I was at Oregon State University, I took Writing 101, and I would look at news articles, and it was interesting because the news articles, watch this, and it still goes on today, would have a certain story, and then they would make the image of the person either smiling or happy or sad or angry, depending on what take they want to get on the actual article. It doesn't mean that that actual image came from that moment of that event they're reporting, but they just choose that to kind of give a qualitative sense of what's going on. And that's not right. But YouTube now and deep fakes allow a person to actually have their mouth move and with AI be able to say things they never said. And this is very critical. So if you see something that you don't understand, seek out, is there a reference, a source reference? Here's an example. I'm going to give you a source reference. So Pope Leo actually, within his first days of being Pope, addressed the news media regarding many things. First of all, being, of course, people of integrity, people of writing documents that purport the faith truthfully, etc. So, and that we shouldn't be misleading people. We should be fostering peace. It's an address of the Holy Father, Leo XIV, to representatives of the media. And he, of course, says good morning, etc., etc. And then he gets into this one paragraph. This is midway through his talk. Today, one of the most important challenges is to promote communication that will bring us out of the Tower of Babel, in which we sometimes find ourselves, out of a confusion of loveless languages that are often ideological or partisan. Therefore, your service, again referring to the press, your service with the words you use and the style you adopt is crucial. As you know, communication is not only the transmission of information, but it is also the creation of a culture of human and digital environments that become spaces for dialogue and discussion. In looking at how technology is developing, this mission becomes even more necessary. And here's the key part. I'm thinking in particular of artificial intelligence. Now, right away, I'm like, wow. So this is early on. This is like within a week or so of his pontificate beginning. And he knows that this is one of the issues within our cultures, the media, and how it deals with the news. He goes, I'm thinking in particular of artificial intelligence with its immense potential, which nevertheless requires responsibility and discernment in order to ensure that it can be used for the good of all, so that it can benefit all of humanity. This responsibility concerns everyone in proportion to his or her age and role in society. I love this. This is really important. So artificial intelligence is going to be a challenge for us, and it happens to him. So just because you see something on social media platform, if it doesn't look right, challenge it. In fact, I saw a video that was supposedly said Pope Leo called up Cardinal Sarah, who was basically sequestered away from the Vatican during Francis's time. Now he's going to make him in charge of not the Congregation of Liturgy as he was before, but now an apostolic guide or missionary to the Southern Hemisphere, to South America and Africa and other places. Which I'm like, funny. So what I did, like, that doesn't sound like something that makes sense to me. And I looked on the internet as well. Is there any other videos that purport this? This was the only one. And I go, okay, so let me go on to AI, let's say ChatGPT, and ask the question about it. Has Cardinal Sarah been reassigned as to anything, or is Pope Leo connected with, or spoken or written to, Cardinal Sarah? Which again, it reports that he actually made a phone call to him. Nothing at all. And so then I go onto the Vatican website, where they would say, or Vatican News, again, a good source for these kind of things, and there's zero there. So I'm like, yeah, this is weird. And of course, it turns out a day or two later, it was a completely fabricated story. It was an AI voice. And of course, the images, while I was watching the images were just, photos from different places of these individuals, not about any kind of meeting. Of course, and it's just like, okay, this is just trying to get clicks, clickbait, and it just rivals people up. And this is then, it comes to, you don't even have to know AI, something's AI. If you start listening to like a Catholic apologist who is, let's say, on the fringe wanting to find division, or is always speaking about division, or trying to make you question the Holy See or the church itself. Of course, the church we can talk about many different things, but after a while, it's like, okay, that's all this person does. They're always critiquing in a bad way all these things. And so they kind of drop off my radar because I do not trust them. I don't find that they speak with the voice of the church or with the heart of the church. Yes, the church we have our own problems, but this is not helpful. This makes more problems. They're not reporting with an assumption of assent or even then backing up things. They're just becoming pundits. And I don't think I want to listen to pundits. I want to listen and read to the original text of people who are authoritative. And so I don't even ask you to think about me as authoritative, but like in this case, go to the website of the Vatican, vatican.va, and look up this document, the actual text of the Holy Father's address to the media. So I just want to share that with you, folks. That's my Friday reflection. And it's always good to be cautious, especially in a day when someone could use video to make a person look like they're saying something or even doing something. We all saw different pictures of people supposedly dressed up as the Pope. I think Trump was that. And there's a few other people, which, made a lot of people mad. And we got to be mindful. Is this appropriate in helping people out? Obviously, those things got people very angry. And for what? For clicks? Yeah, not great. So be faithful. Read the sources. And if you're not sure, there's some healthy skepticism there. But we have lots of aids you can go to. Go to the Vatican website, go to Catholic News Agency, do some Google searches, use some social media, or just not social media, but AI like ChatGPT or other ones that are good to at least get a sense of things. But keep in mind, when you go to ChatGPT, don't think that it's going to always be, totally correct. Sometimes if it doesn't sound right, challenge the statement it makes. Again, it's not a person, it's just using, let's put it this way. AI is basically auto check or auto spell on steroids. It's using just the media from different places. It's brought into large databases, and it searches those databases for common themes and words, and then it's able to give us a lot of information, which can be helpful. I have to admit, I was doing a little hobby the other day, and I used ChatGPT to help me create an antenna for a cell booster that I use in my little trailer when I go camping. That was helpful, but it didn't always get it right. And I would say, hey, that didn't work out that way, or this doesn't make sense. And then it would correct itself. So just even then, don't take it just for carte blanche that it's, always true. Challenge AI, chatbots if you're using one, but also challenge the media that you see. Look at the source of that media or that story and see if they actually quote real, authentic sources. God bless you, everybody. This weekend, I'm going to be preaching. I ask that you pray for me. And we will then remind everybody, of course, about the Archbishop's Catholic Appeal. And I guess that's it for the now. See you this weekend. Bye-bye.